G'day ladies and gents, welcome to War Thunder with Mags, and welcome aboard the Sea Meteor Mark III. Now first things first, I'd like to apologise for the rant video that I posted the other day. Apparently I probably shouldn't go about making videos when I'm both tired and angry at the same time. Thankfully I have managed to find a usage for Gaijin's current event, so expect to see some tank combat from some harder to record tanks in the future. Anyways, the Sea Meteor, often called the Sea Jesus, one of the most powerful aircraft at its battle rating, incredibly fast, good climb rate, reasonable manoeuvrability, although it does have a tendency to break its wings at high Gs. It carries the same armament as all the other Meteor models, 4 Hispano cannons. We're looking at 780 rounds of ammunition. Now in this battle I'm using the Omnipurpose still. I know the air targets are now available and they are better rounds, but I like having traces in my belts, and unfortunately the air target belts do not have traces available, so those are out for me personally. Now the key to performing in any of the Meteor variants is to always maintain energy over your opposition, which is why I'm up here at 16,000 feet. There are targets at low altitude at the moment, but only a small portion of the enemy team is currently visible. I'm staying up here until the rest of them have been located, because the last thing you want to find yourself is at low altitude, even at high speed, with enemy aircraft above you. As you push your aircraft into a climb, while the Meteor has incredible energy retention, is able to climb extremely rapidly, you will slow down, allowing things like P-80s, F-80s, and of course the Banshee, to be able to easily maneuver in and destroy you. If you're maintaining high speed, it's very hard to maneuver in sharp angles inside with the Meteor, as the wings will break. It's not a problem that most of the American jets suffer from, so you don't want to be in that situation. And the rest of the enemy team has just been lit up. We're looking at around 6 Banshees and a number of F-80s. Beginning to move in on my first target, we have an F-80 on high. The advantage of these planes is they are faster than the Meteor. F-80s fully upgraded will outrun Meteors in level flight, even the Sea Meteor. Pushing them into climbs, however, does leave them vulnerable, as the Meteor has higher energy retention, so this was not the greatest move to make in the first place. This F-80C basically allowed me to close. However, he does make the right move here. He pushes it into a dive and then into a sharp turn. Snaps it over. Now if I try and follow him through that manoeuvre, I will break my wings. So I take it vertical instead, go straight above him, use the climb to bleed off my speed, and then begin a rollover to reinitiate a dive on him after he's blown his energy and put himself at low altitude. I can regain all my speed to reclose the distance without putting my aircraft at risk. Now he's pushing his aircraft back into a climb. Now I'm maintaining my speed at the moment through the turn. I don't want to turn back sharply and blow it all, I'm going to need it, and it's a good thing I did, because I had a situational awareness failure and F-80 has managed to slot in on my tail. Now I've got to run. So push it into a sharp dive. 870, 880, I've just redlined the Sea Meteor. Now the F-80C fully upgraded is capable of outrunning, which makes me question whether or not this pilot was actually fully upgraded. He is maintaining the gap, but he's not closing as fast as I would expect him to. He's also a little wild on the trigger, which is probably the only reason I actually managed to survive this encounter. Still maintaining over 800. Now what I'm looking for at the moment is him to start falling off behind me. As the gap starts increasing, I'm going to push the Sea Meteor into a gentle climb and then into a sharp climb. If he attempts to follow me in the Meteor, he doesn't have the energy retention that the Sea Meteor does, and he's going to blow all of his speed trying to follow me, and he will never catch me in this climb. However, he has 2 pilots on his tail, and he takes it vertical. And due to attempting to follow me in that climb, he's allowed a Venom and another Meteor to close very rapidly on his location. He's now manoeuvring hard and trying to avoid. The second Meteor is dropping in as well. Time to reverse the tables. Now I'm very careful to only positive G in the Meteor. I'm not sure on its current flight model stats, but it used to break its wings very easy in negative manoeuvres, so I'm very cautious about that. And as you see, my speed's going too far. I wasn't going to follow him, but thankfully he turns back. First shot, miss. He's kind enough to turn back again. Strike the engine. Black smoke. Probably a busted fuel tank. Take it back into the vertical. I'm maintaining so much speed at the moment I'll break my wings if I again attempt to manoeuvre. Roll over in the vertical. Reinitiate a dive. Use gravity to assist the turn. Due to his manoeuvring, he's got himself caught at low altitude, at low energy, and this was a pretty easy shot. Fireball. Now, why the composition of the US team was actually, well, it was made up of a good collection of aircraft. Banshees are actually incredibly good fighting Meteors if you use them correctly. Unfortunately, in this case, the US pilots seem to try and turn fight their Banshees against Meteors, which is sort of the equivalent of turn fighting a P-51 against a Zero. It's just something you don't do. Unfortunately for the American team, this left them with only 2 aircraft remaining, one in a Banshee and one in a P-80. Now, these 2 pilots knew what they were doing. They knew when to run and they knew when to fight. This Banshee led us on a merry chase. This was as close as I got to him for the next 10 minutes. He pulls into the clouds and disappears, going for altitude and keeps his distance from the rest of the team until he is in a position to be able to strike at our air forces. Now, make no mistake here, he is not running in or trying to drag out the match. He's actually trying to get an advantage to re-engage in combat, and does so. Unfortunately for him, the turn-fighting Banshees on his team left him in a bit of a bad situation. It didn't really matter what he did or how well he set himself up. When he dove back into combat, he was going to be diving in on 3 to 5 aircraft at any given time, and, well, it was sort of inevitable what the result was going to be. That just leaves a P-80. Now, the P-80 is still hidden in the clouds, so we've got to locate him next. Now, unfortunately for the P-80 pilot, he did leave himself a little predictable. He's the last man standing on the enemy team. He's not wanting to disengage from combat. He wants a chance at getting a few kills before he dies. He knows he's going to lose, so he positions himself directly above the British airfield, waiting for returning damaged aircraft or aircraft that have taken low fuel loads. I'm not one of them. I've still got 7 minutes of fuel on board, or nearly 8 minutes of fuel. Now, the P-80 is slightly slower than the F-80, but you can see exactly how much trouble I'm having closing on this guy. This guy's P-80 is fully upgraded. I'm only just managing to drag him in. I've redlined the plane, and I'm still only just closing. Now, I have him down to 1.2 kilometers. I am going to be able to close on him without too much of an issue. The Sea Meteor is faster than a P-80, so I'm just pulsing my air brakes. I've got all the time in the world to get my close in on this guy. I don't want to rip my wings at this point in the match. That would be foolish. No point in continuing the dive on him. I want to maintain level flight speed for a second and then reinitiate the dive to close rapidly. Doing this is simply a way of fine controlling my speed. Deploying the air brakes can bleed a lot of speed very rapidly, and I don't want to do that at low altitudes. It might give him an opportunity to reopen the gap, and I don't want that to happen. Now, I'm shooting a little wild here. I have managed to get a hit on him. It should have been a kill. I run 600 meters convergence on the Meteors. He's just outside of it. These shots should have hit, but I'm not shooting well enough, unfortunately. Down to 149 rounds of ammunition. Decide I'm not going to continue shooting because I'm shooting badly. I'm just going to continue closing distance on him, but he is running for the respawn wall. Now he's inside. Nail him, fireballed. And this is something I've never seen before. A wreck going through the respawn. And I'm honestly not sure there's enough combustible material on an aircraft like the P-80 to maintain that sort of a fire for that long. But nevertheless, second kill of the match, and that's the win for our team. So let's go check out the results. So, came out with second place for the team with 2 kills, Professional X2, Shadow Strike Streak X2, and unlocked a new decal, 44,585 Silver Lions, and 3,642 research points that have been dumped into my G-suit. And that's the Sea Meteor F Mk. It is a great little aircraft. I don't think it has the power that originally gave it the name Sea Jesus. It used to have that name when it was actually tiered lower than it was, and had the same performance it does now, with very little that was capable of keeping up with it. There is now enemies that can catch it. Unfortunately, most of the time what you're seeing is, well, enemy forces that are not using their planes correctly, and as a result, making themselves easy kills. So another battle and another Meteor, and this time we find ourselves in the Meteor F Mk G41F, otherwise known as the Meteor F4 Long Wing. Now, the G41F is the last of the full wing Meteor designs available in War Thunder, the next 2 variants being clip wing designs. As a result, it flies in a very similar manner to the Sea Meteor. It's the logical conclusion to the long wing design. Now, the G41F's general matchmaking is pretty much the same as the Sea Meteors. However, this plane does have the potential of finding itself in battle with sabres against MiG-15s. It features pretty much an identical armament, it has more powerful engines, so its energy retention is even better, its overall acceleration is speed is better, it has an incredible climb rate, it is one of the fastest climbing Meteors available in the game. Its overall performance is actually quite comparable to that of a fully upgraded Banshee, however it is a slightly more manoeuvrable aircraft. As a result, this is an aircraft that you do not want to allow to get above you. You do not want to give it an energy advantage and allow it to dive on you, especially if you are in something like a Banshee. It can maintain level flight speed with aircraft such as the F-80C, and it is far less likely to break its wings in high G manoeuvres, although it is still possible to do. Ammunition and fuel load for this aircraft is exactly the same as the Sea Meteor, with 780 rounds of ammunition and 27 minutes worth of fuel at maximum fuel load. And once again, I'm running omni-purpose belts as I like tracers, and the air target belts, while being superior, don't have any. So as always, climbing off-centre to the enemy's climb path, off the runway, heading more towards the British 2nd base, pushing out 14,500 feet, beginning my turn. The first enemy targets have been engaged. Just beginning a gentle turnaround at the moment. I am only doing 391 kilometers an hour, so I want to maintain the speed that I've got and not blow it, otherwise I'm going to have to lose altitude. Although I am creeping down slowly, but very slowly, gaining the speed back rapidly. At this altitude I should be able to cut back across the flight path and start looking for targets. Now, we were only a couple of minutes into the match and we've already suffered 2 casualties. One of our vampires went in low and fast and shot straight in directly beneath the US climb path, which always seems to be over the ocean on the left hand side of the map. I have no idea why US pilots tend not to climb anywhere else, it makes them very predictable. Our other was a Meteor F3 that broke its wings in a high G turn. This is why you have to be very careful on meteor controls. If you don't, you will rip your wings. To answer the 3 questions that just popped up in chat, Mr. Sheckelstein, the event's still crap, but I'm going to use it to show a couple of the rarer tanks. G'day Ryzen 1 and Killer Penguino, I'm guessing it's probably going to be on the Meteors. So, targets have been located. I've got a couple of F2Hs, all of which that I have altitude advantage over, and a P80. Just maintaining a climb, just setting myself up for a nice dive. I want to make sure I'm in a good position. And that's one of the P80s down, taken out by a cannon camberer. About 3 kilometers overall in the dive. That should be fine. 540. I shouldn't overspeed on approach. Lining up for the shot. Passing 740, 750, and you can see how much quicker this thing accelerates over the Sea Meteor, and a nice straight shot, critical hit, and fireball. Immediately take altitude again, P80 ahead. He's just completed a loop at low energy. I thought I might have the opportunity to spike him out and head on, but unfortunately he manages to dip underneath. It was actually a very well performed rollover. Continue the climb. I'm still over 700 kilometers an hour, so take back all the altitude I can, and there goes the Banshee. Continue the climb out past 15,000 feet, and then I'll bring it back around to select the next target to engage. Really might need to get myself a skin for this thing too. I was trying to get the RAAF Randals to cover the British Randals on both sides, but they're really in an awkward spot to do it. So there's a P80 ahead that's just taken out a Venom. Now, I don't have a direct red box on him, but I know he's right ahead, so I'm trying to pass through rapidly. There he is. 2.3 and closing fast. He's bringing it around. Might be able to spike a shot on him here. Closing fast, but nope, sees me coming, stands over, pulls back on the stick, and again, I cannot risk that maneuver. So, back into the vertical, retake altitude. And unfortunately, I'm not going to get a crack at either of those targets, as the Banshee trying to pull maneuvers at low altitude just put his plane straight into the ocean, and the P80, who just avoided my dive, blew all his energy and got taken by one of our Meteors. So, get all the way back out to 13,000 and start looking for new targets. And there is actually only one target remaining, but thankfully it doesn't take me too long to find him. He is a Banshee pilot, and like before, it's a Banshee pilot that knows exactly what he's doing. He's not down on the deck turn fighting, he's up here at altitude, maintaining his advantage. He's about 13,500 to 14,000 feet, and he is on energy hard. Now, I pull up underneath him, trying to spike a shot underneath. He goes straight vertical. Now this shows he knows exactly what he's doing. He has an energy advantage over me, and he's just pulling the plane straight up. He's just pushed me into a stall, and he can dive faster than I can. He's beginning his rollover in the background, and I admit, he dropped the bait perfectly, and I took it hook, line, and sinker, and I know I'm in trouble at this point, so I'm pushing it straight to the ground, and you'll notice that I'm starting to aileron roll the aircraft through the dive as I'm pushing down. The Banshee doesn't maneuver well in high-speed dives, as I said a moment ago, so if I make him roll rapidly through the turns and then pull out of the dive on a sharp angle, he won't be able to follow. I'll be able to push the aircraft back into a climb, he realises what I'm doing, and he breaks out in the opposite direction and goes back for energy himself. Bloody good pilot. Knows exactly what he's doing in the plane. I actually hear a lot of complaints from Banshee pilots that the plane is now non-competitive at its current battle rating. Fly it like this guy. You get a team of Banshees that are all flying like this guy and they will wreck everybody they encounter. Unfortunately, that is the depressing part about this. Bad Air is flying his plane perfectly and he deserves a victory for that alone. But he's in a 4-on-1 fight versus Meteors and it's the same problem as the guys in the last round. He's going to lose this battle. The only question is whether or not he's going to kill one of us before he goes down and which one of us is going to kill him. So, taking the altitude advantage again, gaining level flight, trying to get my airspeed back up so I'm ready to intercept. Bad Air's holding level so he can break away from the Meteor that's down low. Unfortunately, he's burning energy when he does that, so if he takes it into a climb at this point, he's going to be on low energy when he reaches my altitude. However, I'm going to be on high energy. 570 IAS, just over 7 kilometers out and closing rapidly. Just maintaining a gentle climb. He's taking it into the vertical and he is pulling away from the Meteor that's beneath him. The Meteor is trying to follow. Just about to pass 600 kilometers an hour, still climbing. He's reached altitude. He spotted me coming. He's pushing it back into a dive. Looks like he's actually going to try and dive on the Meteor. It looks like he's missed his pass. He's passing underneath. And begin my rollover and my dive. 6 Gs, just keeping it gentle. I don't want to put too much force through the wings. Breaking them at this point would be a very bad thing. 1.3, 1.2. Now he's pushing it down fast and trying to run. I try a range shot there, but I'm too far out. Again, 600 meters convergence on these guns. I run that for all the Meteors. I just find it the optimal for the way I shoot. Close, but not quite. Trying to get him to run into them, get a hit. Nothing serious, he's still going. 950 red line. I do have to watch my speed here. I have my finger hovering over the air brakes. If it goes much higher, I'm going to have to hit them. Thankfully, he pulls it into a slight climb, which allows me to arrest my speed a little. Not quite getting shots on target. Just missing. He's on optimal convergence. I should be able to get him here in a second. And there's a critical hit. Good strike. Not sure exactly what I criticaled. Closing in again, and there's the fireball. Good fight, Bad Air. Bloody good fight, and well flown. So let's go check out the results. So, good fight overall, second place for the team, Bomber Rescuer, Ground Forces Rescuer, Avenger X2, Professional X2, Shadow Strike Streak X2, Terror of the Sky, Bulletproof, and this to be a Winner in War Thunder thing, which actually hasn't started yet for the Western communities. 48,045 Silver Lions, and 7,438 research points, again going into the G-Suit. Most of my Meteors are fully upgraded, except for the G-Suits and the bomb pylons, for those that have them. So, the Meteor F Mk4 Type G41F, the Meteor Long Wing. It is an awesome piece of machinery and a plane that I can fully recommend. It is a great load of fun to fly. Its 7.7 battle rating does mean it can find itself alongside Sabres in battles against the MiG-15 Biz. However, you'll be surprised at how well you can make it perform if you know what you're doing with it. However, in those battles, you don't take the role as a lead fighter, you definitely play a support. Anyways, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed this video. Click like if you do, subscribe if you want to see more. Fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.